Welcome to this third module. This is understanding risk. Hope you enjoy it. It's going to give you some foundational clarity on trading risk and the other risks associated to your journey right now as a trader. Okay? So enjoy the module. And as always, stay lucky. Understanding risk. Module 3. A few things I'm risking in doing this foundation course: my time, my energy, and my emotion. And this is kind of the crux of how we're going to approach this risk module for those of you out there on this foundation course. What you've got to understand is risk begins before you even click a mouse, before any trading takes place. Most people think risk is, they have these common misconceptions where risk is just losing money, or risk is a price moving against you when you're trading, or risk is a bad trade. But what risk actually is exposure to uncertain outcomes. Uncertainty is permanent. There's a hedge fund trader, I forget his name, it might be Druckenmiller, and he says markets are the same as they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, always changing. And there's that uncertainty. Markets are forever changing. You never know what's going to happen. New information's coming out. New situations are emerging politically, constantly changing. So that uncertainty is always there. Outcomes are variables. So you never know what your outcome's going to be. It varies. Could be winning, could be losing, could be scratching. We don't know because that uncertainty is permanent. And participation itself carries exposure. So just being involved, like now, carries that risk exposure. Risk before the trade. We talk about time risk. You've got weeks, months of learning. I mean, it's constant learning. I'm always learning still after 20 years. Every day there's a new lesson. Hours of analysis when you understand your process and your approach to trading. Screen exposure. You've got to be in front of the markets. You've got to understand how they move. Opportunity costs of the time that you take out to learn the craft of trading and understand the markets. You could be doing other things. And then the displacement of priorities. Because once you are in the markets, and you have to push other things aside, essentially, hobbies and various other things, to fully focus on trading. And then you've got your cognitive risk, where you can get decision fatigue. I mean, this happens a lot. I've seen it with junior traders, especially in your infancy, or even senior traders, where you're trying to understand the markets and what trade to do, and you can't decide. It's the markets are too difficult at the time, or nothing's showing itself to be a clean opportunity, and then you get very tired of doing this all the time. Your clarity can then be reduced from not being able to understand the markets or figure out an opportunity. Emotional reactivity. I've seen this a lot. The markets can chew you up and spit you out and then affect your emotions. Ideally, as a trader, you want to be as emotionless as possible. And, this is why I teach a stable process and approach to the markets. And then that focus can diminish because, you're wearing yourself out through all the above. And then that leads to emotional exposure, which is kind of your stress, frustrations, and then your ego can pitch in and affect your decision making. And it can also affect your identity, who you are when you're becoming a trader, because you do have to put yourself in a different mindset and a complete trader mindset. So market risk, we bring it back to market risk. You have that financial risk, of course, from adverse price movements, the volatility of markets, any shifts in liquidity, and information asymmetry, changing information in the changing markets. And then we've also got other layers of risk. I'll cover a few. There are a few more, but the main ones: market risk, like we've spoken about, liquidity risk, counterparty risk, we mentioned these in the previous modules, and execution risk, which we will then go on to talk about later on. So markets do not promise certainty, only probability. How does professionals think about risk? The professional response: got to define your exposure before you even act. I know where I'm getting out before I'm getting in to my trades. Accept that uncertainty. Live with it. Separate the outcome from decision quality. With good process, good execution, good management, if you're doing all the things right, you can separate that outcome from that decision and continue to make those decisions, all of which we'll cover in future modules. And it's very important to be able to step away when necessary. If things aren't going right, take stock, stop trading, evaluate, and then return. You can't eliminate risk, but you can choose which risks are worth taking. The key takeaway here is, are you prepared for the psychological costs of trading? It's not just the financial, but behavioral and psychological costs of trading. Okay? It's one to ponder. See you on the next module. Hope you enjoyed that module, Understanding Risk. There's a few parts in there that could make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, and that's perfectly natural, because when risk is involved, be it our emotional risk, time risk, financial risk, which trading comes alongside, it makes people feel uncomfortable, because essentially you're losing something, right? And as humans, we don't like to lose stuff, and we don't like to give stuff away. But that feeling of uncomfortable is good, because we don't grow unless we feel uncomfortable. And trading and learning to trade is a skill. It's a high performance skill. And for any high performance skill, you have to push yourself through your comfort zone and push your boundaries. So if you felt uncomfortable, it's a good thing, right? And you're on the right path to learning the craft of trading and having that sustainable, disciplined relationship with the markets. So well done for watching the video, moving closer towards your goals. And I look forward to seeing you on the next module. Take care.